Laughing so good for the soul. Share a moment with a complete stranger or somebody you know. Don't care if you're young or you're old. Sit down and tune into the best show. Lee bringing all the flavor. Interviews getting greater and greater. With a nostalgic feel. You know she got the mass appeal. Word up.
Welcome back to Laughter is My Love Language podcast. I'm your host, Lily Mason, and I'm so excited about my guest today because she's incredibly talented and hands down one of the most hilarious people I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my gosh.
Please welcome Kristen Toomey.
Thank you. Oh my
I'm
gosh.
so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Like beyond glad. So I don't know if you remember, but my first time really meeting you and talking to you was in 2019. Okay. The first time I ever saw you at a show was at CYSK, and you went on stage, and I don't know, you said something about robbing a bank, and you had asked the guy in front, but he whispered very deep and dark, and you was like,
Nick,
"Oh, you're the robber
Nick.
and
I
the
remember
gun."
him. Yeah, you're the robber and the gun.
And that was so funny to me.
Thank you.
Everything you said was funny that night, but I just kept going back to the robber, and because it was so quick that I was like, "Who is this girl? She's so funny." And then I would just see you everywhere after that. And then one day we were in the Laugh Factory, and I was just sitting down talking, and he was like, "I've seen you before. You're a comic, right?" I was like, "Yes." So we were talking, and you were just telling me "Oh, I love your spirit." I was like, "I'm just excited to be here." He was like, "Keep that. Don't let that go anywhere, but keep that." And you did my show for me. It was at a jerk chicken spot. I don't know if you remember.
Okay.
It was on Halloween.
Yes.
This is why I remember your Harley Quinn outfit. Yes, because you came.
Goodwill sign.
Yes, and I just thought that was so awesome that you would do that because you really didn't know me, and I was still fairly new. I had only been doing comedy for 2 years at that point, and you were just there. So I've always valued and appreciated you. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yes.
You're wonderful. I love you, and everyone loves you. And love, this is called Laughter is My Love Language.
Yes.
And I really feel like laughter is my love language. Yeah. I honestly, that's a great name for this.
Thank you.
It's so true.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I'm laughing with someone or we have a laugh together, I feel like I love that person.
Yes, it is a bond that happens. And
really
it's so I want to get into how you got into comedy and how laughter became a thing. So let's go to your origins, right? Mm-hmm. When did you realize you were funny? Before even stand-up came, when did you realize you were funny?
Oh, geez, probably last week. No. I mean, I've confirmed, I have to reaffirm it all the time. But sure. The first time, I don't know. Honestly, I don't remember the first time I was I know it was a way to kind of ease tension. And I think in being in situations where I felt threatened or sort of it was a way to make life easier.
Yeah.
I learned that very young.
Yeah.
So I don't know what age exactly. Probably as a baby.
Yeah.
When I make this cute face, then everybody's happy.
Yeah.
So probably that young.
Interesting, because then that sort of becomes a responsibility.
Yeah.
Almost. We don't know it, but because I feel like this is now a solution to whatever problem, it's hey, look at me. This magic trick failed, but are you laughing?
Yes,
you know?
Yeah, I do that all the time. But I have people guess the card, and I have no idea if it's gonna. It's just I hope it gets it. What if it did? Would that be
Does
fun?
it?
It never does. No.
Do you just walk around with a deck of cards?
I do. I usually have one with me, but
I love that.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, it's just the Uno card. Yeah. It's wait a minute.
I think of a card, and I go, "Is this your card?" And they're like, "No, it's never your card."
So, were you?
And I laugh, I roar every time, and they're like, "You suck."
Oh, another day. Try again tomorrow.
It's so fun.
Were you considered funny in school, amongst your friends? Were you class clown, anything like that?
Yeah, I think so. I could be. I was also probably more rebellious, so it wasn't I think it comes with taking on that role of making people put them at ease with humor. There's also that part of me that's I think maybe I get kind of fed up of having to do that. So I get a little like angry. You know what I mean? There's like that mix. So I wasn't like the class clown, like everyone liked me. I was sort of like kind of like what you call a bitch, I guess, but it was like funny too.
Okay. So like sarcastic, was that a part of it?
Yeah, mean.
Okay.
But also not, I wouldn't say like I didn't bully people that got bullied. It was sort of like, I felt always like an outsider myself, so I felt like it was just standing up for myself kind of a thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that might be people's perception of me is more that, which I wasn't really aware of until recently.
How'd you find out?
You know what? This girl that I went to school with, actually, her daughter goes to school with my daughter because my kids go to the same school that I went to.
Okay.
And so I found out from my kid that I was a bully, actually. And I was like, oh, shit. When you're like doing that, I think, as like a small kind of like feeling like an outsider all the time, I never thought of it that way. Because also like when it's not coming from a place of like hate too. Like I know I can be very cutting, but a lot of that like I'm not aware of until I see someone's reaction because it's not like meant that way. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know, but I was very, I would say, rebellious and like kind of closed off as a kid.
That's interesting. What I just heard you say was, it's not meant that way until they take it that way.
Yeah.
And that's because stand-up comedy is definitely subjective, right? So you have to get me in order to get it.
Yeah.
So how do you, because I want to know how you got into stand-up and how we got here. So I know you started in 2008, right? How did we get there? And then I want to go back to like, how did you figure out like your subject matter would be like acceptable? Because I've never not seen you funny. Like,
thank you.
Every single time you hit the stage, it's like boom, destroyed, and it's like, oh, who's following her? You know. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Like I did some theater when I was a kid, but I was very shy and very like afraid to perform, and then I finally did Second City because I always wanted to do that when I had my daughter. And then I got pregnant with my son. And somebody that wasn't funny that was in my Second City class was doing an open mic. I was like, if this guy can do it, I can do it. So I went. And the first time was good. And then I was like, oh, I love this. Like that laughter is the love language. It's like that seed was planted pretty deep. And then I bombed a bunch. Then I quit. Then I started back up in like 2011. Very serious. Like I was running at my own open mics out in the suburbs. And then I really started to get serious about like 2013.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and then I was like kind of obsessive about it. And then, yeah.
So before the open mic, had you ever had any desire to do stand-up?
I did go up once during, like I was about 20 and I was in a bar. I was wearing someone's Blackhawk jersey, I remember. And there was a musician and they took a break. And so I went and got on the microphone and told like an old Bette Midler bit.
You just walked up there?
Yeah. And then he was like, don't touch my stuff. I was like, oh shit, sorry. But yeah, the bar was like, what the fuck? Who is this like 4'11" in a hockey jersey? And I'm like, like you got a tight box and no tits or something. I don't even know what the bit was. It was like a Bette Midler bit. And they were just like, put the music back on. I'm like, who is this?
And I love that you probably just said it and it was like, okay, bye. Like, it's nothing. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I was like, well, I guess I could try that.
That
someday.
is hilarious.